Hey kids, let's talk A Perfect Circle. I have here their debut album Mer De Noms, which I find to be a very hilarious title because if you speak French, Mer De Noms means sea of names, but if you put Mer and D together, you get Mer De Noms, which means shit names. Like I said, this is the debut album. It's on a lovely little gatefold vinyl, which I'll show in detail in a moment. And this is a very interesting vinyl for a number of reasons, both personally and in terms of being a collector of vinyl. I'll start with the personal ones. It was one of the first ones I bought when I decided I was going to start buying vinyls. And I've since come to sort of half regret it, but I can't get myself to part with it. Now, the reason I say this is A Perfect Circle, if you don't know, is the brainchild of one Billy Howardell, who kind of resembles Billy Corgan but is less of an asshole. He used to be a guitar tech for Tool, and he showed some of his demos to Tool's lead singer, Maynard James Keenan, who decided that he was going to sing on them. Billy had originally wanted a female lead singer. In fact, I believe in interviews he said that he wanted the lead singer from Cocteau Twins to sing on this, but had no way to reach her. And then Maynard stepped in and said, I'll sing on it. And because of Maynard James Keenan's involvement, this debut album received a lot of attention, immediately shot to the top of the charts. And I gotta say, it's kind of underwhelming in retrospect. It's pretty much just your standard late 90s alternative rock fare, even though this came out in 2000. But it's okay. It's not a terrible record. It heavily front loads its good tracks. The first 5 or 6 tracks are really the best ones, and then it sort of meanders into pointlessness. It also has a very peculiar fascination with 3/4 time, the waltz time, dun 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 dun. It's like you can almost slow dance to the entire album, and it does tend to veer off into a bit of pretentiousness. Like for instance, on the back cover here, you can see all these fancy squiggly lines are actually the song lyrics, but they're written in this fucked up cipher that they just decided, well, that's just going to be hilarious for people to sit there and figure out. So I'm not over the moon about this album, but it does tie into one of my golden rules as a vinyl collector, which is I don't need every album in an artist's discography. I just need the important ones. And for A Perfect Circle, the important album is the debut album. The other two, Eat the Elephant and 13th Step. And they did a covers album called Emotive. Those aren't terribly important. There's like 1 or 2 good songs on them. At least you get 6 good songs on this one. So I feel this is the important album to get. It's also interesting as a vinyl itself because it is one of those double album vinyls that really didn't need to be double albums. You see, back when this came out, we were still not really in the whole vinyl resurgence yet. Remember, streaming wasn't a thing really yet in the 2000s yet. Maybe a bit of it, but it wasn't really mature. So you had a thriving CD market, and then you had these guys, and vinyl was still considered to be an inferior, cumbersome format. Record publishers felt that their vinyl versions should be able to compete sonically with CDs. It's on a double vinyl, and it could easily have been a single vinyl. It's a very unnecessary double vinyl because, as you can see, the run-out grooves on the vinyl are just spectacularly long, and there are 3 songs per side. Now, I did some rudimentary math on this, and the track list of this album could easily fit on a single vinyl. They even went in and extended the intro to the song Sleeping Beauty, and they extended the runtime of the last song over. Even with the extended runtimes of the songs, of these 2 songs, you could still comfortably fit it on a single vinyl. And the reason they did that, I think, was the aforementioned bizarre conviction that they somehow had to compete with the sonic qualities of CDs because, as you know, the more you space out the grooves on a record, the more fidelity you're going to get, the more loudness you're going to get, and stuff like that. which is utterly pointless for a record like this, which is pretty much just your standard alt rock fare. It's guitar rock. So it's not like it's a classical rock or even just a classical music album where the dynamics are incredibly important. Most of the songs on this record have pretty much the same dynamic to them all the way through. The only thing you're actually doing, this being a double album, is infuriating the listener, because what you're doing is you've got 3 songs per side, and these are relatively short songs. We're talking 3 or 4 minutes. There's one that just about cracks the 5 minutes, and that's the one that has the extended intro, just about cracks 5 minutes. So basically you're getting up every 8 minutes or so to change the side, and once you've done that twice, now you have to get up and actually change the disc to put the disc 2 on, and then you get 3 more relatively short radio length songs, and then you have to get up and change the fucking side once again. So that's A Perfect Circle's debut album. What's really good about this vinyl being split into 2 discs, if I have to find a silver lining to this, is that the aforementioned front loading of the good songs is pretty much concentrated to disc 1. So you can basically get away with just listening to the first disc and just using the second disc as a sort of display item. So that's A Perfect Circle's debut album, Mer De Noms. I've had it since 2000 actually, since the album came out. I bought it and I put it on the shelf, and it's a very nice bit of packaging. I feel it's very cute. This is just the the CD's inlay, but they've done some nice things to it. Nice presentation. Sound quality is fine. It's an absolutely infuriating listen because of how many times you have to get up and change the sides and then change the disc. There's no point in it being a double album, but that's the sort of bullshit we had to endure in the early 2000s. So anyway, that's it. Cheers. See ya.